Jerusalem, the holy city at the heart of biblical prophecy, is drawing attention once again. The ancient sealed gate, closed for centuries, is now reportedly showing strange signs of movement. Then, at dawn, a cross-shaped light suddenly appears across the stones of the eastern gate. Beneath Jerusalem, buried structures begin emerging from the darkness. And on the Mount of Olives, the place connected to Christ's ascension, long cracks appear across the ground. One event might be coincidence, but what if they are happening together? Could these be warnings described in Scripture? Could the return of Jesus Christ be drawing closer, or are we witnessing a series of unexplained natural events? Stay with us, because what comes next may change how you see Jerusalem. The Eastern Gate, a prophecy of Christ's return. The Eastern Gate of Jerusalem, also known as the Golden Gate, has fascinated believers and prophecy scholars for centuries. Facing the Mount of Olives, this ancient sealed entrance is closely connected to biblical expectations about the Messiah. For more than 500 years, the gate has remained closed since Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent ordered its arches sealed in the 16th century. According to tradition, he may have known of Jewish and Christian beliefs that the Messiah would one day enter Jerusalem through this gate. Ezekiel 44 verses 1 through 3 describes an eastern gate that remains shut and is reserved for the prince. Christians have long connected this passage with Jesus Christ and his future return. Jewish tradition also associates the gate with the coming Messiah, while Christians believe Christ's second coming could bring fulfillment to these ancient expectations. Now, with reports of cracks, possible movement, and unusual signs appearing around Jerusalem, attention is once again turning toward the Eastern Gate. Could it finally be stirring? And if this ancient gateway ever opens, many believers may see it not merely as a historical event, but as a powerful sign that the return of Christ is drawing near. Mysterious underground structure. Under the East Gate. Recent archaeological surveys and ground-penetrating radar scans around the Temple Mount area are said to have detected a hidden underground cavity directly beneath the foundations of the sealed gate. Initial descriptions suggest an ancient void carved into the bedrock, though its exact age and original purpose remain uncertain. Some researchers believe it could belong to an old structural support system or defensive construction from Jerusalem's turbulent history. Others have raised a far more intriguing possibility, that the underground remains may be connected to structures associated with the First or Second Temple. The location makes the discovery especially significant. The Eastern Gate faces the Temple Mount, one of the most important places in biblical history. If ancient foundations truly exist beneath this area, could they preserve traces of Jerusalem from the time of King Solomon and the First Temple? For some believers, Isaiah 28:16 adds another layer to the mystery. Behold, I lay in Zion a stone for a foundation, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. Christians traditionally understand this passage spiritually in relation to the Messiah. Yet the discovery of an actual hidden structure beneath Zion naturally raises questions about Jerusalem's physical foundations as well. And the timing is difficult to ignore. Cracks are reportedly appearing above the Eastern Gate, while unknown spaces are being detected below it. One development could be explained by archaeology or geology. But when both appear together, the symbolism becomes powerful. Is Jerusalem simply revealing another forgotten chapter of its ancient past? Or could these discoveries be drawing attention towards something greater? Perhaps the answer remains beneath the stones, hidden for centuries, waiting to be revealed. Cross-shaped light appears above the gate. In recent weeks, witnesses have described a brilliant light forming near the sealed gate during the early hours before dawn. Photographs and videos circulating online appear to show the light stretching vertically and horizontally, creating a shape that closely resembles a glowing cross above one of Jerusalem's most prophetically significant locations. At first, Many assumed it was simply lens flare, reflections from nearby lights, atmospheric conditions, or a camera artifact. Yet some observers claim the pattern remained unusually aligned with the architecture of the gate, making the image appear more deliberate than random. Other explanations have also emerged: surveillance systems, automated image processing, reflections from security lighting, or optical distortion could potentially create unusual shapes in photographs. None of these possibilities should be ignored. But for believers, one question remains: why does such a distinctive image appear above this particular gate? Matthew 24:30 speaks of the sign of the Son of Man appearing in heaven before Christ comes with power and glory. For Christians watching Jerusalem closely, that passage gives the cross-shaped light a powerful symbolic connection. By itself, the phenomenon proves nothing. But when placed beside reports of cracks in the eastern gate, shifting stones, and mysterious underground structures, the timing becomes difficult for many to overlook. Is this simply light interacting with stone, atmosphere, and cameras? Or could Jerusalem be offering another reminder to remain watchful? Whatever the explanation, the image of a cross appearing above the sealed eastern gate has once again placed Jerusalem at the center of questions about prophecy, history, and the return of Jesus Christ. The gate is moving. Recent observations. Visible cracks have reportedly appeared across sections of mortar and stone surrounding the sealed arches. While centuries of weather, erosion, and structural stress could explain such fractures, some witnesses believe the timing and pattern appear unusual. Even more intriguing, several stones near the upper structure seem slightly misaligned. Small gaps have reportedly formed between sections that once appeared firmly locked together, creating the impression that the ancient wall may be slowly loosening. Then there are the sounds. People near the Temple Mount area have described hearing low groaning noises at night, sometimes compared to heavy stone under pressure. Others mention faint metallic echoes seemingly coming from beneath the ground. Natural explanations remain possible, including shifting masonry, underground spaces, or environmental conditions. Yet for believers, the location gives these reports a deeper meaning. Ezekiel 44:2 describes an eastern gate that remains shut and reserved for the prince. So the question remains, are these simply signs of an ancient structure aging after centuries of exposure? Or could the cracks, shifting stones, and unexplained sounds be drawing attention toward a prophecy that believers have watched for generations? If the eastern gate truly begins to move, many will ask whether history itself is approaching a prophetic turning point. Geological cracks on the Mount of Olives. As unusual events continue to draw attention toward Jerusalem, another development is unfolding directly across from the eastern gate, on the slopes of the Mount of Olives. Recent drone footage, satellite imagery, and geological observations have reportedly revealed long fractures cutting across parts of the mountain. Some extend along ancient ridges and rocky slopes, appearing as deep lines through ground that has stood there for generations. From a geological perspective, these cracks may have natural causes. Erosion, shifting soil, underground pressure, and minor seismic activity can all produce fractures over time. Jerusalem also lies within a region affected by active fault systems, and small earthquakes can place additional stress on already fractured rock. But the location changes how many believers interpret what they are seeing. The Mount of Olives is directly connected to one of the Bible's most dramatic prophecies concerning the return of the Messiah. Zechariah 14:4 declares that the Lord will stand upon the Mount of Olives, east of Jerusalem, and that the mountain will split from east to west, creating a great valley. For centuries, Christians have understood this passage as describing a future moment connected to the physical return of Jesus Christ. That is why visible fractures on this mountain immediately raise questions. The cracks have not split the Mount of Olives in two. and there is no evidence that Zechariah's prophecy has already been fulfilled. Yet their appearance provides a striking visual reminder of what Scripture says will one day happen in this exact location. And the timing adds another layer to the mystery. Reports of movement around the Eastern Gate, unusual lights above Jerusalem, underground cavities beneath ancient structures, and geological changes around the Mount of Olives are now being discussed together. Each event may have a natural explanation when viewed separately, but when several appear around places deeply connected to biblical prophecy, believers naturally begin to pay closer attention. Could these fractures simply be signs of geological pressure building beneath Jerusalem? Or could natural processes themselves one day become part of the way an ancient prophecy is fulfilled? For now, the mountain remains standing. The cracks remain only cracks. But Zechariah's words continue to echo across the same landscape. One day, the Mount of Olives will be divided. And as visible fractures appear across its slopes, the question becomes difficult to ignore. Are we merely witnessing the slow movement of the earth, or the earliest signs of a place Scripture says will one day be transformed when the King returns? Are the end times near? When unusual events appear one by one, they are easy to dismiss. A geological fracture can be explained by pressure beneath the earth. A river can shrink because of drought and human use. A strange light may be caused by the atmosphere, reflections, or cameras. Small earthquakes can occur naturally in a region shaped by active fault systems. But the question becomes more difficult when many different events begin attracting attention at the same time. The Bible does not present the last days as a story built around one mysterious event. Instead, Scripture repeatedly describes a period in which different kinds of disturbances begin appearing together. Conflict among nations, earthquakes, changes in the natural world, fear among people, and signs that cause humanity to look toward the heavens. Jesus described this pattern in Matthew 24. He warned his disciples that they would hear of wars and rumors of wars, that nations would rise against nations, and that earthquakes and other troubles would occur in different places. Yet he also made something very clear. Believers were not commanded to panic. They were commanded to watch. That distinction is important. Fear causes people to react without wisdom. Watchfulness causes them to examine what is happening while remaining grounded in faith. The purpose of biblical prophecy is not simply to make people afraid of tomorrow. It is meant to prepare the heart for what may come. This is why current attention surrounding Jerusalem has become so significant for many Christians. Jerusalem occupies a unique place throughout Scripture. Major events connected to Israel's history, the ministry of Jesus, his crucifixion and resurrection, and many future prophecies are centered around this city. At the same time, another biblical location continues to attract attention: the Euphrates River. Revelation 16:12 describes the waters of the Euphrates drying before events connected to the final stages of prophecy. The river has experienced serious decline in different areas, although drought, dams, water management, and climate conditions provide important natural explanations. Does that mean Revelation 16 is being fulfilled right now? No one can responsibly make that conclusion from water levels alone. But for believers familiar with Scripture, the image is still difficult to overlook. A river, specifically mentioned in biblical prophecy, is changing before the eyes of the modern world, while Jerusalem itself remains at the center of international, religious, and prophetic attention. Then there is the wider condition of the world. Political tension continues across multiple regions. Nations strengthen their militaries. Economic pressure affects millions of families. Natural disasters repeatedly interrupt ordinary life. Technology changes society faster than many generations can adapt. Information spreads instantly, but truth often becomes harder to distinguish from rumor. In Luke 21 verses 25 to 28, Jesus spoke about signs involving the heavens, the earth, and the distress of nations. Yet his instruction to believers was not to collapse under fear. He told them that when these things begin to happen, they should lift up their heads. In other words, prophecy should produce awareness, not hopelessness. Romans 8:22 gives another powerful image, describing creation as groaning, like a woman experiencing birth pains. Birth pains do not remain at the same intensity. They develop, return, and eventually move toward a conclusion. Jesus used similar imagery when speaking about the signs preceding the end. That may be one of the most important principles for understanding prophecy. The question is not whether one earthquake, one light in the sky, one drought, or one unusual discovery proves anything. The deeper question is whether a larger pattern is beginning to emerge. And even then, Scripture warns believers against setting dates or claiming certainty about the exact moment of Christ's return. Jesus said in Matthew 24:36 that no one knows the day or the hour. Therefore, preparation is not about calculating a calendar. It is about the condition of the heart. If Christ returned sooner than expected, would we be spiritually awake? If this message made you think, like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel as we continue examining biblical prophecy together. Thank you for watching, and may God give us wisdom, discernment, and faith for whatever lies ahead.